Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Screen Addicts Podcast. As always, I am one of your hosts, Chris. Let's do it again, Viegas.
I am Steven the Recut Sosa.
I am Jeremy. I can finally see like I'm 20 again.
Yeah. Look at
Got
those
that 20,
specs.
20. How
And
do
now
you
we
like
all
them?
have glasses.
I know we're all old now. How do you like them, Jim? Are you
I
getting
don't-
used to them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I dig them.
Well,
They
you're looking
cool.
very sophisticated, my friend.
I know.
Do you feel smarter wearing them, Jeremy?
No. I just feel like some plastics over my face right now.
You know,
Yeah,
you were
that's-
telling me how much better you could see, so I was kind of wondering how bad your vision has deteriorated over the years. Like, who would have known? You probably could have used them 5 years ago, for all you know.
Yeah.
Probably.
Chris, how long have you been wearing glasses?
Ever since I was a wee little one.
Yeah, I was 5. So it's been nice, I guess. I can finally get contacts now that my eye's healing up, so that's good.
Yeah.
But now you're so used to your glasses.
I know, now I don't want to go through the pain.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us tonight. As per our nicknames, usually they are in line with our topic. And our topic this evening is movies that we think that should be recut. All because of the hashtag release the Snyder Cut. And it's coming. It is coming. And I cannot wait. Just another reason for 2020 to leave in a hurry. So,
When is the release date for it? Have they given a
haven't-
release date? Not an
Some-
official one, right?
Sometime in
think so.
2021.
Okay.
look, we have our first comment already. Hello, Amanda Hernandez.
Oh, that's my cousin.
Yeah,
Hence,
she said
hey,
hey,
cousin.
cousin. Yeah.
Oh, that's Jeremy's cousin.
Oh, it's Jeremy's cousin, of course. Well, thanks for joining us, Amanda. We appreciate it. But back on track. We're trying to keep this one short and sweet tonight. Thus, us doing a weekly show, coming back to weekly shows so we can maybe cut down some of the time because I know everybody's time is precious. So, along with speeding things along, our first segment, as we always do, recently watched. And Jeremy, you were up, my man. What have you been watching, dude?
Okay, first of all, I watched a couple new things this weekend. I watched Judd Apatow's new movie, The King of Staten Island, and yeah, it's the king of boredom.
Uh-oh.
I
That bad, huh?
I don't know why I watch Judd Apatow movies. He doesn't really entertain me. He hasn't entertained me in years. So I don't know. But I did watch another new movie this weekend that dropped on Friday. Spike Lee's new joint, Da Five Bloods.
The Five
And-
Bloods.
Da Five Bloods. And that movie is badass.
Yeah.
That is Spike Lee doing Spike Lee greatness, as he always does, pretty much. So
He was actually surprisingly impartial in that film. Like, he was putting a lot of perspectives on both sides
He
of the
was.
political spectrum, which was
I know.
one thing I thought was surprising about it. But man, it's a visual.
It's an awesome movie. And didn't you notice the weird thing about it was when he went to flashback, the actors never aged.
Well, you know, I thought about that and I said, okay, so this is like a choice you would do on like the stage where you necessarily wouldn't cast younger actors to play the younger counterparts, because I guess that's just that artistic suspension of disbelief, if you will, because I mean they were all like basically, I guess it's from our perspective, it's putting them directly into the Vietnam scenes, and Yeah, for anybody who hasn't seen Defy Bloods, like you have a cast and they're all older, led by Delroy Lindo, which
I was
is
about to
his.
say, who is in the cast? Just for people that know.
Delroy Lindo is pretty much the main name as far as the older gentlemen go, and there've been a couple of actors from The Wire that I don't know if anybody would recognize them off the hand, but Delroy Lindo is the one that's had the most prominent career, and he has some major PTSD in this film. So going back to Vietnam's really rattling him. So his performance in the movie is just, it's incredible. I mean, he's so raw and visceral in this film. And it's funny because I was thinking, well, Delroy Lindo looked the same 30 years ago. So I guess, it's, not too much of a stretch, but yeah, they basically use the exact same actors to play the scenes of Vietnam with Chadwick Boseman, where he's the leader of the Five Bloods, if you will. And they, well, Jeremy, it's your movie, man. I'll let you talk more about it. I thought it was so great that I was like, oh, I want to talk about it.
It's a great Spike Lee movie, and pretty much there's another subplot where they find a box of gold, they bury it, and 30 years later they go back to reclaim it.
Hey, what did that remind you of? A gold.
Three Kings.
Oh, I see what you're doing, Chris. Gold. Who else loves gold, Jeremy?
I love gold.
There we go.
There he is. There's Goldmember showing up for a cameo appearance.
Yeah, gold.
Hey, what did that movie remind you of, Jeremy? Military.
Gold.
No, forget Goldmember. Goldmember. He's done
now.
Look what you did, Chris. No, It reminded me a lot of Three Kings as far as like the concept of it. They're gonna go and steal.
Yeah,
well, they're not.
And that was just one little subplot to it. There was other things going on that was technically more important. So
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that was a great movie. And I also watched this other indie flick starring Kevin James. And Kevin James plays a role he's never played before. He plays the bad guy and a convict and has a swastika tattooed on the back of his head.
Oh, James?
Yeah.
He went from the king of Staten Island to the king of Queens.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Paul Blart, right?
Yeah, Paul Blart.
Yeah, Paul Blart. And the movie's called Becky. If you can find it, it's probably on VOD somewhere. And it's a good movie. It's bloody as hell. It is Eli Roth level bloody.
Oh, we haven't had a Jeremy Gore score in a while. What is it?
How many drops of blood, Jeremy?
I'd give it 8.
8?
Oh,
yeah.
Pretty gory.
It's pretty damn nasty, and it's lovely. Except for Kevin James. He doesn't really seem like a bad guy. He doesn't act like a bad guy. He doesn't act like a guy you want to kick in the nuts and punch in the face. He just acts like a bearded, bald dude who you just want to kick the hell off your porch. And that's it.
Fair enough.
That's all I got.
Oh, that's all of his movies. I thought you meant like that's it for Becky.
Oh, look.
And Becky, overall, the movie's good. I like the movie. I just don't like Kevin James. I never liked Kevin James.
I don't like you now, Turk. I love
that
Kevin
Chris.
James.
That Chris Farley stand-in.
Look who has joined us, fellas. Breakfast for dinner. Ooh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
I want to give him a shout out real quick. I was listening to his show, the Backseat Directors, and they did an episode on Man of Steel, which, we'll get into talking about later on. Yeah. 7-year anniversary, apparently, for old Man of Steel this week.
Wow. Nice.
I love that movie. I think that movie, and I love how Andre and his team, they're so pro Snyder. Like they get exactly what he was trying to do. And Man, I love Man of Steel.
And it's funny, man, that, yes, there are some people that absolutely get it, but the majority just don't understand. They see Marvel, and that's all they want to see.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
And it's like, guys, peel the onion.
Yeah.
But anyway, so moving on. What I've watched. I've watched one thing this week, and
Just one?
yeah, man, this 1 week. When we cut it down to 1 week, I don't watch that much stuff. And I'm very sad to say that this one thing kind of hooked me in, and I don't know why. And I mentioned it last week. It's the Chronicles of Shannara. And dude, it's so bad. Don't
like
watch
bad
it.
ass or bad sucks?
No, like bad sucks.
Oh.
I don't know why. Like, there's only 2 seasons, 10-episode seasons. And there's only 2, and I'm like, and they're 40-minute episodes. So I'm just sitting there watching it. And I'm like, oh god, this is so stupid. But now I have to know what goes on next. Have y'all ever? Anybody watching? Has that ever happened to you? Like, have you ever watched a show that was bad, but you kept watching it just because you have to know what's going on, what's going to happen? And that's the way I'm with this one. And I don't know why.
Jeremy and I specialize in that type of schlock. We've read in that way too many times. And I have to finish something, especially movies. Like, as bad as the movie is, I'll still finish it, because you never know. Something in the end might tie it all together and make it better. But
Right.
TV is a little different. TV is a major investment. With a film, it's 2-3 hours at the max of your time. But a television series, you're dedicating 30 to 45 to an hour long episodes. So, I mean, it's a definite investment. So I always try to be more selective with TV than movies. But yeah, I've fallen into those pratfalls, if you will.
Yeah. So the Shannara Chronicles. I said it wrong. The Shannara Chronicles. It started as an MTV original, and then the second season, I guess, it got moved over to Spike.
Oh, well, that I could have told you if it was an MTV show.
Yeah, it wasn't good, dude. Anyway, but I'm 1 episode from finishing it. I will finish it tonight and start on a new quest.
Hopefully, a more fruitful one.
Yes, hopefully. We'll see. I'm going to start Hannibal.
Yes, you should.
I've heard it's really good.
It's fantastic.
So, those that have started Hannibal, I'm about to join y'all on this journey. So, but that's all for me.
Yeah, we could have a whole episode dedicated to Hannibal, the series. It's so good. Matt Mikkelsen, he had the unfortunate benefit of trying to fill the shoes of Anthony Hopkins.
Ooh.
And while he doesn't do it better, he does a great job in his own interpretation of the character. But if you watch it, you'll see. I mean, it's so good.
Awesome.
I had a bunch of stuff that I watched for some
course
reason.
you did.
I don't know, man. I work from home, so I get to watch TV at home. I mean, I do it in my office anyway.
So do I, but I'm just stuck on one stupid show.
Right. Well, I was going to ask you guys, did you guys start Stargirl? Jeremy, I know you didn't watch Stargirl.
Hell no.
But Chris, did you watch Stargirl?
Oh, maybe that's why. What I'll start. I'll start Hannibal for nighttime, Stargirl for daytime.
Because there's only like 4 or 5 episodes so far in this season of Stargirl, and I think it's really good. I think it's successing where I had no expectations of it. I guess maybe it matched that at least. Whereas Batwoman, I was like, oh, this is going to be really good, and was extremely disappointed. But yeah, so far Stargirl's really good. I also finished Love Life on HBO Max, the Anna Kendrick show, which is really good. They were giving 3 episodes at a time, so they would release 3, and then the final 4 were this last Thursday, and they're only like 25 minutes long, so those were an easy watch. As far as movies, I caught a couple on Hulu. One was the Sisters Brothers with Joaquin Phoenix and uh, who Jake Gyllenhaal is in it, and it's a western, and it's pretty good. It's about assassins who are trying to take out this guy who knows about this major gold settlement, so they all end up working together to it was pretty good, but nothing as glamorous as you would think with the cast that was involved, but it was okay. Me and Connor watched this really stupid movie on Hulu called School Spirit, and basically what it is, it's like an R-rated horror version of The Breakfast Club, where you have a group of kids that go to Saturday detention. I mean, it's literally almost like a remake of The Breakfast Club mixed in with a slasher flick, and you have a and yes, it is as dumb as it sounds, but you have all the stereotypical students who aren't very fond of each other. They get together and we're friends, but there's all of a sudden this, evil spirit that's been killing people. And the gore in that's pretty surprising. I was like, holy shit, this is like a hard R-rated movie. But yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend that one. Sonia had never seen Casino, so we actually sat and watched all of Casino. Watching it now, I'm thinking Casino's definitely not the best of the Scorsese, De Niro mafia movies. It's not bad, obviously.
Still awesome.
Yeah, it's still really good, but that's how high the bar is set with the other ones. But yeah, it was pretty good. And Sonia had never seen Tootsie with Dustin Hoffman, which is a classic comedy, and we started watching that one. That still holds up. That one's really good. We talked about Defy Bloods, and there was a Billy Crystal comedy on HBO called Forget Paris. It came out in '96, and it has Deborah Winger, who plays Sissy in Urban Cowboy, one of my faves.
Sissy Bud, yes.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because I thought, okay, I remembered when this movie had come out, but I had no interest in watching it when I was a little kid. It was in '96. Like 12, 13 years old. What do I care about like a middle-aged couple getting together? Well, now that we're middle-aged, it kind of made a little bit more sense. And it was from the writers of City Slickers, and Billy Crystal directed it. So I highly recommend it. It was really good. It was a funny watch. Let's see what else. Oh, The Kitchen. We watched The Kitchen with Melissa McCarthy and Elizabeth Moss, and it was really good. I was surprised I wasn't too surprised, I guess. It's based off of a graphic novel that DC released, because unlike Marvel, DC actually released content outside of the superhero genre. And it kind of reminded me of how Road to Perdition with Tom Hanks, that's a comic book that was based off of a DC novel as well. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty good. Did you guys see The Kitchen with Melissa McCarthy and Tiffany Haddish?
No.
Okay. Well, their husbands get thrown in jail, so they kind of take over Hell's Kitchen's corner of the Irish mafia, and it was pretty good. I actually liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. But I'm going to finish.
I'm a McCarthy fan. I think that's why.
Like, well, yeah. Well, it's not a comedy by any means. Like, it's a serious drama, which is funny considering you casted two pretty prominent comic leads in her and Tiffany Haddish, mm-hmm. But yeah, they're flexing their acting muscles, and I thought it was all right. But I want to end my recently watched on this one. And gentlemen, I have been waiting for this movie to come out on DVD remastered any way other than VHS. And that is the movie Rad, the BMX freestyle 80s classic jewel of a film. Okay. I had the DVD of it, but what the DVD is a ripped copy of the VHS. You know how you could put the VHS tape and burn it to a DVD, but it's still VHS quality. You could just watch it.
It's still terrible.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's a bit nostalgia watching it that way, but it's not a legitimate up conversion. Until now, this company called Vinegar Syndrome decided to restore Rad. I don't know how they got the rights to it, but they were able to restore it in 4K at that too. And yeah, there's new special features on it. And watching it, man, those colors were just pop, man. It looked like a completely different movie. And I don't know, but I was like so excited I finally got Rad on Blu-ray. But yeah, hey, in a week, when we record in a week, I don't have as much, so that's pretty good.
I mean, yeah, you cut it down to like 5 minutes instead of like 20 minutes.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
nobody wants to hear me rattle off all the shit that I watch, and that's still cutting it down too. Like if I mentioned everything that I watch, like forget it. This would be a whole episode of, I don't know. I'd have to spin off the show and just the shit that I watch.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's all I got this week.
Cool. All right. Now on to some headlines. We got a couple. We don't have that many because it's only been a week. But Jeremy has a really good one. Steven will save yours till the last.
Fair enough.
Okay. Jeremy, what headline?
No pun intended.
Oh, this is just funny. That's why I wanted to mention it. Because of all the new COVID rules and social distancing and everything, with things going back to work and people going back out there, daytime soap operas have decided how they're going to work out this social distancing thing when it comes to their sex scenes. And what they're going to do is they're going to make their actors work with blow-up dolls.
So, okay.
They're going to shoot around it.
I don't know how you can. I mean,
I don't know.
Unless they're using those really sophisticated ones from Japan, I don't really, I don't really know how they're gonna work around that. But maybe I wonder if that's their way of like trying to get people to watch it. Which soap opera did you say?
Right now, it's The Bold and the Beautiful that's gonna.
Indeed, it is. Okay. Wow.
And I'm betting several of the other soap operas are going to do it if this works, which I don't see it working.
I don't either, because they use real audio in those shoots. So it's like all you're going to hear is like squeaking plastic. It takes the passion out of it.
I know.
And like they can't even really move. Like they're just beep.
What if one pops on the air?
My gosh.
And they're going to do it for both. The women are going to be having sex with the male blow-up dolls, and the men are going to have sex with the women blow-up dolls.
That's so great. Hey, Jeremy, you lease some of yours out. You're going to make a killing, brother.
I mean, it's such an insane idea.
Well, I mean, you know what's funny about that is like with the times these days and people working, the workarounds that people are doing, it's just nothing's really surprising anymore, you know?
I guess not, but damn.
I said workaround, not reach around. Okay, Chris.
Hey. All right. Well, that's a headline to start off.
This is what happens when you give Jeremy headlines.
I know. Damn it. Anyway. So, I got two headlines. I just found one. I remembered this one.
Ooh.
So, it was just released on the Amarillo Economic Development Corporation that they are forming a pact and going to fund a film production firm here in Amarillo. So what this does is they're going to build two huge ass like hangar movie sets.
Wow!
Just right outside of Amarillo for studios and companies to rent to shoot. out here in Amarillo.
That's
So you're saying that we should get the Screen Addicts motion picture off the ground now?
Bingo.
Not bad.
But that's a good
That'll-
movie.
That's awesome. That'll bring more work into the city, and I think, man, how much would that cost? I bet that's going to cost a ton of money to rent.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though.
But we have the land out here. Might as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's already been a couple of films use Amarillo scenery, so bring it on. And my other headline is last episode, we hit our 150th, fellas, 150th episode. So congratulations, you two.
Congratulations, gents.
You've made it this far. We've made it this far without quitting on each other. Although I was close, I'm gonna say I was really close.
It's like what does the Godfather say? He's like, I try to get out, they pull me back.
But I'm glad I stayed. Glad it's real. The funny thing is that because of all this COVID stuff that happened is what allowed me to stay. So that's good.
One good thing about it, I
one
guess.
good thing that came through. But 150th episode. Again, everybody that has ever listened, everybody that has ever subscribed, even just for 2 seconds, we really appreciate it, and we hope you continue on this journey with us. And don't let the way Jeremy dances.
Yeah.
I said they got him to dance.
So that's my headlines. Steven, what is our last one?
Before the last one, I did see something interesting. So Matthew McConaughey's trying to run for governor of Texas.
Oh God!
What?
I mean, I don't hate that idea. I think I don't see how. Okay, look at it.
Here we go again, man. Back to what political training does he have? None.
Dude, the president of the United States was the host of The Apprentice 2 years ago. I mean, it doesn't seem out of the realm of
at least
shock anymore.
Trump was business minded. I mean, there's something like he had foreign relations.
He had a failed business mind.
Given.
But still, I think it's kind of like you could look at someone like Ronald Reagan. I mean, but then again, Ronald Reagan was a war vet too. I mean, he served in the military. But I mean, I don't know. That's all.
And he was an actor.
But I'm just saying, like, qualifications for office don't really hold so much weight anymore, So, and it's just governor. It's not like
Screen Addicts 2021, baby.
Yeah, I think we should.
W was governor, and look what he became.
Well, yeah, but prior to his governor seat, he was also in politics. He was embedded into it, basically. I mean, it's just, but that's kind of the way that things are going. It's like I could see more actors and possibly actresses making pitches for political seats. I mean, like I said, it's
Arnold's fault.
I mean, yeah. I mean, when you think about it, him and Jesse the Body Ventura. Yeah. Like guys like that, even who is it? Jerry the King Lawler was another pro wrestler that ran for Memphis and Tennessee. It's just, I don't know. It's crazy.
At least when Jesse Ventura ran, when he won, he said he wasn't going to do another term. He did one term and walked away.
Sure. He hit the post, gorilla.
Damn right.
But I don't know. Y'all need to keep me posted with that, though. I thought that was pretty funny.
Why don't you just come back to Texas when that? I'm going to say this: if it happens, that's your sign to move back home.
Yeah, I'll take it. I feel like any sign is a sign to move back home, but yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah, when the hurricanes rip up your house, that's kind of a sign to come back home.
It's not very welcome. It's like rolling out the welcome mat here in Florida. But okay, well, other than the little tidbit I saw, the final headline I saw was from today, actually. Zack Snyder, which is what this whole discussion is about, is his cut of the Justice League. It's been big news lately, and he finally released a first video clip of it, which featured Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman discovering the dark side symbol and emblem, and also she's holding a staff. So I'm thinking it's one of his parademons or something. So I don't know. And then it shows a full shot of the still that he had released of Darkseid and his army kind of coming in. It's basically just a live shot of the still that he released. And even though Jeremy was trying to bring down my happiness by saying we've already seen it,
He always will.
visually. We hadn't seen it visually yet. So, but yeah, that was really cool. And so it's like you posted that earlier on our Screen Addicts Fanatics page, Chris, and I was watching it, and I left a comment in there saying that, man, this is like a whole new movie. It's almost as if they're trying to just wipe out Justice League altogether and let this one be the definitive version of the Justice League. So this whole notion of recutting the movie might actually bear some fruit in the end, because I mean, that one clip, they already had like 50,000 people share his tweet on Twitter and retweet it, and I was just like, God, people are legitimately excited to see this, you know. And I can't wait. I just hope HBO Max works something out with Fire Stick and Roku, because I need to see that.
Yeah, for sure. But which leads us into our main topic, because of what is happening with the Justice League and the Zack Snyder cut. It got us thinking, what other movies need to be recut and re-released into this world? And I will be totally honest with our listeners and our viewers. This is more Steven and Jeremy's realm of expertise. So I'm going to let them, I'll chime in with some of my opinions on some of the movies they talk about, but it is mostly them. So gents, take it away.
And none involve soap opera Blowup Dolls, mind you. We're good there.
We don't got no soap opera Blowup Dolls.
Well, the distinction of this is that so the principle of this topic is predicated on the notion that Justice League was released in 2017. Joss Whedon was hired, came in, and pretty much cut out, I don't know, I'd say about 70 to 65% of the film, rewrote it, reshot it, and turning it into his own movie. So for people that don't understand what this Zack Snyder cut is that he had shot close to 4 hours of footage for his Justice League movie that just needed to be finished and put out there, which is what is happening. The Zack Snyder cut, the definitive cut of Justice League, will be coming out. And so that leads to the notion that some of these movies that we're going to talk about are movies that were released that potentially had an alternative version that should have been seen, which weren't. Like, for example, Batman v Superman. And Chris, you can attest to this one. The movie that came out in theaters was the 2 hour and 40 minute, or like the 2.5 hour version of it. But the director's cut that was released on Blu-ray was 3 hours long. So they left out 30 minutes. And that 30 minutes explained so much more of the movie, of the plot, the backstory of what they were trying to do, and essentially made it a much more improved movie, which is what they should have released the first time around. But well, Jeremy, go ahead, man. What do you have?
Well, you can't really say my first one, there's an alternate cut out there, or ever would be, but Spider-Man 3 was so dog shit awful, and Sam Raimi, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I know what he was thinking when he made the movie, and it was a big middle finger to everybody involved.
So I guess you're saying that if he wasn't forced to incorporate Venom into the story like the studio wanted, we would have had a much better film.
I think so. Yeah.
I think I can probably see that too. Because I mean, but at the time in 2007, you'd had two Spider-Man movies. Venom's the most popular villain, arguably the most popular villain in Spider-Man history. So it's only natural that we see him on screen. So yeah, I understand. I kind of side with the studio with this one. It's like you want to have somebody that the fans want to see. So I don't know. I guess recut into a fourth movie with just Venom probably would have fared better. But casting Topher Grace was another thing that I think he was like
That
giving the
was
middle
the,
finger
that
to.
was the other middle finger.
You know, if I can, I want to talk about DC just in general. Like DC has had a long list of issues like this where they just don't know what to do with their properties. Like it goes all the way back to Superman 2. Now Superman 2 is questionably the first movie to do this. Like everybody's talking about the Zack Snyder cut. Well, I guess a lot of people forget about the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2. Richard Donner was fired in the middle of producing Superman 2 that you know, he never got to finish his film, although he had plenty of footage to do so. So since Superman 2, what we got in theaters wasn't really what everybody loved, they released the Donner cut, which is something that a lot of people loved. It's a little shorter, but it also gives more of an explanation. And Supergirl, a lot of people really talk so much about Supergirl, the Helen Slater version from the 80s. Well, it turns out that one was 93 minutes long, but there was a 138-minute director's cut that never got released. So it's like DC and Superman 4, questionably the most ridiculous of all the Superman movies. That was 135 minutes cut down to 90 minutes to be more fan friendly. So I'm thinking, what are these guys doing? Like, let these movies play out. Like, you're robbing these movies of real quality and you're not allowing it to, you know, to be as good as it can be. And it's like Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott does this all the time. Like he's released like 6 versions of Blade Runner, all like these ultimate cut, director's ultimate cut, just like all these different changes that he's doing. And the movie is better, I think, much like his Kingdom of Heaven. Movie came out 2 hours and 20 minutes theatrical. The 3-hour version of that I thought was so much better. So it's just kind of like, you know, I don't know. It's almost as if
the 3-hour version of Gladiator.
Yeah, it's awesome. Good. Yeah, it's really good. But I think that studio producers are just kind of looking at these movies and saying nobody wants to sit in a theater for 3 hours. I'm like, well, I would if the movie's great. Yeah. And you know, I posted something about Batman Forever coming out this last week. Batman Forever is its 25th anniversary this week. And it got me thinking a lot about that movie because, you know, Schumacher comes in, right? And he films this movie
all up.
But see, this is the thing. As you do more research on the film, it turns out that Schumacher had that movie 30 minutes longer than it was. And he had every intention of making it darker, making a more psychological twist. Chase Meridian, played by Nicole Kidman, her character had so much more that got cut. And she's even said that. She's like, oh, the performance she had in that film was drastically cut to make it more commercialized. And so they were like, no, Burton had dark Batmans. We don't want to make dark Batmans anymore. And so they cut out all that footage. And then Batman and Robin comes out and he goes full on in the camp stuff. And of course, that was just totally rejected, which is why Batman Triumphant, his third film, was going to be really dark. It was going to have Scarecrow, Harley Quinn, and it was going to return it back to its dark roots. By that time, they just didn't really want to hear anything of it anymore. But, you know, there's just been a lot of films like that where you just kind of hope. I mean, and some are so bad that you're thinking, surely there could have been a better version of this film than this. But the one that I would like to talk about real quick before we sign off is Alien 3. Now, Alien 3 is a movie that is just, you know, and it is pretty hokey, but David Fincher, Mr. Seven, Fight Club, Social Network, David Fincher, his first studio film was Alien 3. They brought him in because he made all the Nine Inch Nail music videos. Like, he was a music video director, but he was known for more of a gothic. Yeah, it was like a gothic tapestry. And So his Alien 3 was very good. Again, more psychological, much like the first Alien. He wanted to rely back on suspense rather than action, like Cameron did in Aliens. And so he even connected it to Aliens, but they were like, nah, this doesn't make sense. So they cut his movie all to pieces. So I'm still hoping that we'll get to see a David Fincher cut of Alien 3 because, man, I think it would have been a lot better than it was.
Well, you know, they released that director's cut of Alien 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's like his final vision because I don't even think Fincher approved it himself. They just put that tag on there because he became a popular filmmaker. But I don't know. I need to go back and watch it. But I don't know. Well, it's kind of like, speaking of James Cameron, The Abyss. I think on HBO Max, the version of The Abyss might be the theatrical version, which is only 140 minutes. But his director's cut is like 190 minutes, like 3 hours and 15 minutes long. And it's great. It's so much better. So I don't know. It would be like saying, let's cut Endgame to 2.5 hours because 3 hours is too long. Well, apparently it's not, because it became the highest grossing movie in the history of motion pictures. So,
and one other film, I wonder what Stanley Kubrick's AI would ever look like.
Dude, that's a perfect example, because you're talking about someone who started production on a film, died, and then as an homage, Spielberg takes it over and pretty much reworks the whole thing to his sensibilities, which
is not really an homage. It's just like,
it's more of like,
it's like, I'm Steven Spielberg and I'm good at this, so we're gonna have a story about a boy and his teddy bear.
Well, I can tell you that Jude Law's Gigolo Joe would have been a lot more filthy if Kubrick had his hands on him.
He sure would have.
And I don't think Teddy would even exist in Stanley Kubrick's version.
He very well might have, but in a very different sense.
Oh man, our good friend Andre made the comment about the Lord of the Rings extended editions, and Jeremy, you can attest to those, man. Like, and those are legitimate, like, director's cuts, because they're each like 30 to 40 minutes longer, and they're already 3-hour movies. So it's like, my God, but they don't seem like it. They're so good that it doesn't seem like it. I remembered when Sonia watched them for the first time, I showed her the theatrical cuts because I was like, I don't know if she'll like the extended editions, but she was like, wait, there's longer versions of these movies? And I'm like, yeah. So then we had to go and rewatch all 3 of them again, but the director's cuts. But yeah, that's a good. Oh, here's one. It's 2 of them actually. Galaxy Quest and Tremors. Both are movies that are great on their own.
Tremors.
And they're funny, but they were both made with the intention of being hard R-rated movies. So you can still see some of the dubbing over the F words in some of the scenes. But it's like, man, what would an R-rated Tremors or an R-rated Galaxy Quest be?
The ass blasters would have taken over.
Yeah, they probably would have. But the same thing for the Meg. You remember the Meg came out like a year or 2 ago. It was supposed to be a hard R and gruesome. Even Jason Statham was like, "Oh, I thought it was gonna be super bloody, but it wasn't."
That's a great Jason Statham.
Yeah, I tried. I couldn't get manly enough like him. But I don't know, man. That's all I can really think of. But I'm sure there's more, and there's definitely some that I'd like to see. But just waiting on that Snyder cut, you know.
Anybody that's listening or watching right now, comment down below if there's other ones, just like Andre did, so we could talk about them.
Yep.
But I think that does it for tonight. See, quick and painless tonight, everybody. It was fun. Next time, maybe I'll have more to talk about on the main topic.
It's suited to you, Chris.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is a good topic, though. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't know that there's extended versions of some of these movies, and hopefully, if they listen, they'll go watch some of these, like the extended versions of the Lord of the Rings. Like, I'm sure if you've already watched the Lord of the Rings, you're a fan and you already have watched these extended versions. But just in case. You
Look,
never.
Jeremy's about to flex right now. Look at
Yep,
this
he
guy.
is. What do you got, Jeremy?
Let's see it, Jeremy. There it is.
There it is. See?
That's the one. Get that
You
one.
geek.
Extended edition.
Extended edition. There you go. But that's just perfect. Good job, Jeremy. No wonder we put your face on video, Jeremy. With no bunny ears, by the way.
Yeah, wait, check this out.
Anyways, everybody, thanks for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. Episode 151. Before we sign out, fellas, any last comments?
Oh man, be excellent to each other.
Is that going to be your new
I
sign
think
off phrase?
so. That should be until Bill and Ted come out.
Okay. Guys, thanks for joining us. As always, if you're wherever you're listening to us at, go ahead and subscribe to us, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, and all the others, okay? If you're here, if you're listening, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you know when we drop a new episode. It'll come up on your phone or wherever you listen. Also, if you're on, while you're there, while you're subscribing, go ahead and leave us some reviews. 5 stars would be perfect. It helps us get seen in the searches a little bit more. And then also social media accounts. If you're on the social media world, follow us on all the platforms. If you're on Instagram, just look up Screen Addicts Podcast. Follow us there on Facebook. Look up Screen Addicts Podcast. And then we also have a group on there called the Screen Addicts Fanatics, which is where we are most active, posting trailers, movie news, and all sorts of fun stuff for your enjoyment and your pleasure. And then if you're on the Twitter machine, go ahead and follow us there. We're Screen_Addicts, and that's ADDICS. And that's where Jeremy's famous. Jeremy, tell the folks your handle.
At Jeremy Marshall. Very simple.
Very simple.
That's all it needs to be.
And also, Steven is going to start us a TikTok page.
Yeah, I should, man. Just
Dude,
post clips
we should start a TikTok page and just do like dubbed scenes of movies, like me and you did that one time.
Yeah, we did Rush Hour. It was a good time.
It was. But thanks for joining us, everybody. Join us next week. We will be here talking more movies, TV, and hopefully I will be talking more than some shitty the Shannara Chronicles.
Shannara Chronicles.
Yeah. Well, I'll be talking Hannibal and Stargirl,
Yes.
hopefully.
Much better.
So anyway, as for me, good night.
Adios, amigos.
Good evening.